In the past, I've done Naruto beat all of
I
the
didn't even see that.
Hokage.
Like, what? Obviously, Naruto is. I think I didn't really watch it because it's like it's obvious. Like, it's obvious. What are we doing here? It's obvious.
And you guys really like that video. It's the most popular on my
That's
channel,
fire.
pretty much. So I thought, why not do Sasuke
Naruto
versus
has
all
zero
the
answers
Hokage?
for the Susanoo. I mean, you never know. You never know. I mean, see, the thing about the Susanoo, which we pretty much all seen, was the fact that it's super slow. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that Naruto is going to be as fast as like a Jigen, because Jigen made Sasuke Susanoo look completely fodder. Like, he fodderized the Susanoo. But realistically, if Naruto can actually move faster than the Susanoo's blade, like, what could the Susanoo actually do, and except for actually, defend against Naruto, which is going to be absolutely huge. How can Naruto get past the Susanoo? But if it's just going to be that, it's just going to be it's just going to be a fight of endurance. How long can Sasuke actually use the full Susanoo, and how long can Naruto dodge Sasuke's Susanoo? Like, that right there is going to be the question.
As well. And I know what you're thinking. Won't the answer just be the same? Well,
Yo,
we do
it's
have a
Meek in the
little-
chat. Big shout out to It's Meek. Yo, It's Meek, did you watch this video before? This is SethTheProgrammer's new video. Basically finding out if Sasuke could be all of Hokage. I basically said if Naruto's involved, I'd say no. But if Naruto's not involved, obviously, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
The surprise, we're also going to be going over nerfed Sasuke, the current nerfed Sasuke, as well versus the Hokage.
Yo, see, another thing that's specific to me that a lot of people is probably not necessarily going to notice, because when editing videos, I go by stuff frame by frame. They made the Rinnegan look, I wouldn't necessarily say bad, but they didn't necessarily animate it the best. And especially for this to be like the last scene of the Rinnegan, like, what is this white stuff? I never seen this white stuff on an actual true Rinnegan. I mean, I understand that it's not, I understand it's possibly not necessarily going to span throughout the full eye, but most of the times when I seen the Rinnegan, it was never any white in the Rinnegan. Let me know what maybe I'm bugging, partners. Maybe I'm bugging, but that right there is something I definitely noticed when I was editing it back.
As well versus the Hokage, and see how he stacks up. But we're also just going to be explaining and, kind of giving a little update to what we think about that current pecking order. Also, it is a very special occasion. This video is gladly in support of Team C's. Team C's was made by Mr. Beast in hopes of following up on his Team Trees charity. So instead of planting trees, remove trash from the ocean. I'm sure you've seen many sad videos of numerous animals and aquatic life in the ocean being tortured.
Yo, big
by
shout out to
numerous
Mr.
types
Beast and
of
all of them.
garbage.
I ain't gonna lie, but I ain't really watching that, partners.
Out. How strong is Naruto now that he's nerfed? A lot of people have been asking about that, but for this video, we're going to be focusing on Sasuke and his nerfs. So, why don't you just start off?
Yeah, that was a drawing error. That's what I was thinking too. Like, what are we doing here? Like, and it's that. Yo, for that to be the last sighting of the Rinnegan, I'm like, yo, it had to be good. Like, what are we doing here?
And round one is going to be the same as the Naruto versus the Hokage video, where it's like Sasuke at full power, the strongest that we know him as, versus all the different Hokage. And you can include Naruto here if you want. I guess we could do like a sub round, like round 1A without Naruto and round 1B with Naruto.
Right.
And then like the second round would be like what? Full power Sasuke versus all the Hokage, including nerfed Naruto. And then like
Full
round
power
3 would
Sasuke,
be, like,
including nerf Naruto. I'm gonna have to still go with. I'm gonna have to still go with the Kages. I don't know if Sasuke could do it. I don't know. I really don't know.
nerfed Sasuke versus all the Hokage and nerfed Naruto.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
Okay.
So the first round is like, for some reason,
This
and
is
it
not
depends
including
on who
Naruto,
you
right?
ask.
Not including Naruto.
Yeah, the first
Yo.
round is not including Naruto.
I'm sorry to interrupt this, but I seen this pull from It's Meek. It's Meek. I'm sorry. I don't. Now I understood why fans would say Madara is beating Delta, but Delta is destroying Madara. Like, especially EMS Alive Final Valley Madara. What are we doing here, bros?
But for some reason, and this varies depending on who you ask, but this is still fairly contentious. Like
Yeah.
How is this fairly contentious? Respectfully, Sasuke is wiping the floor with everybody here. Respectfully. At the same time, you may say Sasuke may have some difficulties, but Sasuke is winning. Like, There's no debate here.
But Sasuke, like, it's not close. All the Hokage just get shredded.
Thank
right?
you. I don't know why he said it was contentious.
Because Hashirama, as strong as he is, isn't doing anything. Naruto and Sasuke like massively surpassed the pre-God Tree absorbed Six Paths Madara,
I'm not even gonna.
and he was way stronger.
I was gonna say
than
something about
Madara,
Delta
who
right there,
fought
but
and
I'm not
almost
even going.
killed Hashirama. Tobirama is just blatantly weaker than Hashirama. Hiruzen is like, I mean, for the purposes of this, like, we don't really have to precisely scale Hiruzen. Old man Hiruzen is like based on feats like weaker than Tobirama in the war. But even if you wanted to use prime Hiruzen, even if you wank him, just like at best barely above Hashirama or whatever.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a
Even
minute.
if you wank him, just like at best barely
All right,
above.
he said if
Hashirama.
you wank him. The third Hokage had a statement of him being the strongest shinobi of all time, something like that. I thought that was absolute BS. Like, for example, in a novel, people are basically regarding the sixth Hokage, Kakashi, as being one of the strongest shinobi of all time. And we all know that Kakashi was never that. You feel me? He was never that. Obviously, he did have a stint when he did have both the Mangekyo Sharinegans. You could possibly argue that he was up there with Naruto and Sasuke at that particular point, potentially even surpass Hashirama. But I think that this right here, him being the strongest shinobi of all time, is a little bit of just a legend. You feel me? He wasn't necessarily, he wasn't really up there. Like, I don't even know why they brought him back as an old man when he was reanimated in the war arc. Like, that right there should have been a time when we should have really got to see if he was actually the strongest shinobi of all time.
Or whatever. Minato's just not as fast as Sasuke. Tsunade.
Yeah.
How strong is Hokage Kakashi? I think Hokage Kakashi. I'm gonna say this right now, and it's gonna be controversial. I think Hokage Kakashi was objectively the weakest Kage. I may say that Tsunade is stronger than Kakashi. With no Mangekyo Sharinegans, Kakashi may have actually been the weakest Hokage, but to be honest, he was still strong in regards to regular shinobi. In regards to Jonin, he was still extremely strong. But Hokage-wise, he may have been the weakest.
To go into Tsunade,
we can.
yeah, it's just what. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I'll say we can even just go into what all of them have done and just compare it to Madara. You know.
Yeah.
So, you know, you take Hashirama. Hashirama, at his peak, he was sort of fighting Madara to the death. Some people think Madara was actually stronger than Hashirama, but...
My guy's out here getting their money. You gotta respect it.
Scout.
regeneration and Madara's high chakra consumption that Hashirama was eventually able to win, as there's many panels in the original Naruto that show Hashirama takes massive battle damage, such as when he's talking to the Nine Tails, and then at the end of the battle, when he kills Madara, all those cuts and bleeding is gone, implying Hashirama was messed up many times by Madara, whereas Madara, just kind of like Sasuke, couldn't regenerate, so he never got messed up like that from what we know. The way he looks at the end is all the damage he ever took. So Hashirama and Madara are pretty in the same tier, and we know Tobirama is just
the problem
blatantly weaker.
with people saying that Madara and Hashirama were technically in the same tier, Madara's fighting alongside the Nine Tails. Like, Madara plus the Nine Tails couldn't beat Hashirama. Like, I'm not sure if we could say that they're fairly in the same realm. And even still, Hashirama won. Like, Hashirama won. Like, he was clearly stronger, but I get where he's coming from. I get where Seth's coming from.
And Hashirama, stated over and over and over again. In fact, Tobirama is borderline featless outside of fighting old Hiruzen as an Edo and his tandem paper bombs he can use as Edo Tensei, but we're assuming he's alive, so he doesn't have his tandem paper bombs, so that doesn't even apply. Minato was able to, chop through, say, Raikage A, say, really highball. Say he's like Killer Bee, full 8 tails level. He can chop through him with the kunai, and he has the Rasengan. He also has like a 9 tails level ceiling jutsu. He doesn't really compare to Madara either, and I actually made a Minato versus Madara video you guys can check out in the description as well. Hiruzen in his prime, even if you wank him really badly, if you take the whole he's the strongest ever, he would just be arbitrarily stronger than Hashirama, and we have no idea.
Like he's not like 6 paths level. Is the thing. Like there's
precisely
nothing to him.
There's a difference between 6 paths in regards to, put it like this, there's a difference between Otsutsuki level and just an S rank ninja. I personally believe that Hashirama, regular ninja wise, is absolutely elite, S ranked, but he never really broke that barrier to become like Otsutsuki level. We even seen it in the war arc when he basically seen Jubi Madara, and he basically himself admitted like, yo, that guy's stronger than me.
Why that?
What's good, Ladino?
So like I mean, I don't think we have to explain this for anybody. It's mostly gonna be like the edgy viewers who are like, oh, well, you got it. Like when he looks at Jubito for the first time, he describes Jubito as like this totally like alien thing to him. Like he's never encountered anything that can use this kind of like jutsu before, and the power's on a completely different level. And I'm pretty sure that was like pre-stabilization too.
Yes.
So it was like baby mode Jubito. So to say that, so and like we can like draw like a quick like tower of escalation, I guess, like a little staircase here to walk you through how many levels apart this Jubito is from Madara. So you have like that Jubito, and then you have the stabilized Ten Tails Obito, and then arguably, if you take the volume statements into account, this is a really annoying argument to have, but arguably Sage Mode Madara is above that with like the back of the volume statement.
What? I see. I wouldn't say that. See, Sage Mode Madara, if you guys don't necessarily know, obviously Madara himself didn't necessarily have Sage Mode, but he had Hashirama, his face implanted into his chest, essentially the Hashirama cell. When Hashirama's face or the cells implanted into Madara actually did go into Sage Mode, that guy, I wouldn't necessarily say he's stronger than Jubito. Jubito, I'm going to say this, he was extremely underrated. I think he was underrated because Madara obviously got the 10 tails as well, and people thought that Madara was the big dog. But I ain't going to lie, this man, Jubito, was a dilemma. He was a dilemma.
Strongest enemy of all time. But if you want to skip that, then above Obito, you have the first form Ten Tails Madara with like the one Rinnegan, and then above that you have God Tree Madara, and then above that you have double Rinnegan God Tree Madara, which is who Naruto and Sasuke fought. Right. So it's like, you see how many levels like removed we are from this character, that like we're not comparing like old man Hiruzen to him. Hiruzen was just like, whoa, I've like never seen anything like this before. So even at his like peak, at his prime, Hiruzen would have been below like baby mode Jubito, who's not even close to being as strong as Sasuke. And that should also tell you everything you need to know if you're still a little bit skeptical about whether or not Hashirama would be able to fight him, like just how far apart Sasuke and Naruto are from people like that.
Right.
And by the way, I just want to point this out. Naruto and Sasuke, they essentially climbed that little staircase that they basically talked about, except for Madara with both Rinnegan's at age 17. Like, they were 17, wet behind the ears, breath still smelled like Similac, barely knew what they were able to do. Sasuke didn't even know he could actually open portals to different time spaces. Naruto barely got the handle of doing the stuff that he was actually doing, you know, healing Might Guy and stuff like that. And they were still up there, like they were still stronger than damn near everybody except for Madara with both Rinnegan's. Even that right there is controversial, mainly because we've seen Madara with both Rinnegan's essentially sparring with Naruto, trying to basically hold them off to actually create the infinite Tsukuyomi. Like, I'm telling you guys, right, I may even go out on a limb and say adult Naruto without Karma, without Sage's Six Path mode, with just regular Sage mode is up there as well. Like, it was that crazy.
There is a statement that he's the strongest ever of the Sarutobi clan back around when Boruto first began, give or take, which would basically mean he's stronger than Boruto Konohamaru, but that Konohamaru is pretty featless. All we know about him is that Kashin Koji can kind of just no-diff him. He calls him impressive, but he's just like, yeah, I can kind of handle you, no problem. Kind of almost off-screens him, so it's not really that impressive.
With I know Tsunade, how I feel about Konohamaru.
more of a rival for Raikage A, which is absolutely nothing to even blind Madara, let alone Six Paths Madara or Hashirama. Now, Hokage Kakashi is a little bit weird. So the thing about Hokage...
this is actually
Wait,
funny.
so
because a lot
I've
of people...
said I think that Hokage Kakashi was arguably the weakest Hokage. I think that he is the weakest Hokage. I want to see specifically what they talk about, what they think about Hokage Kakashi. The reason why I say Hokage Kakashi was the weakest because I think we could all possibly agree that either the second Hokage or the fifth Hokage, Tsunade, was the weakest. And a lot of people are going to say that Tsunade was the weakest Hokage. And Tsunade was essentially like damn near Orochimaru level. And Kakashi, part one, albeit before Kakashi did get that power boost, but then again, that was still Kakashi with a Sharingan. He was essentially shaking like Shaq at the free throw line when Orochimaru pulled up on him at the Chunin exam. So I'm like, nah, Kakashi got to be the weakest.
Write him off like he's like the weakest Hokage. But
Actually, what?
According to the novel, he's like way stronger than he was in the war, which was like...
Again, I'm going to call Cap. Yo, shout out to Naruto Explained. Ian always brings this up, and I'm like, yo, this cannot be true. Just from the things that we have seen, you feel me? It cannot be true. Now, the reason why, of course, this right here may make sense is because the Sharingan was draining so much chakra from Kakashi, and obviously we know that Kakashi knows over 1,000 jutsus. He wasn't necessarily able to use over 1,000 jutsus when he was actually fighting because, again, the Sharingan was draining so much chakra. Now that he does not necessarily have the Sharingan, but he still knows all those jutsus, he can actually use those jutsus and use it more. I don't even know how to call it. Use it at a higher scale, I should say. I think it's logical, but I just don't necessarily think that's the case. I'd have to actually see Kakashi do some work, and that's the problem with Boruto. We need to actually get to see some of these characters put in work. We need to see Naruto without Karma put in work. We need to see Sasuke without his Rinnegan put in work. We need to see Kakashi without his Sharingan put in work to actually see how strong they are. I can't necessarily just take these novel statements, even though it's very credible. I just got to see it to believe it.
Novels, Kakashi's actually stronger than ever he's stronger than when he fought Madara and Obito. Not DMS per se, but he is stronger. Yeah. It's implied his Sharingan, since he doesn't have it,
all right,
his chakra.
Oh, Konohama is not featless. He should be slightly below the fourth Raikage based on his feats with Jugo. My problem with that is that Jugo realistically was not actually trying to defeat Konohamaru. Obviously, he did get taken over, but Jugo wasn't beat by Konohamaru. Jugo got knocked out of the actual state. The Jugo that fought, if we say, well, put it like this, the Jugo that fought the Raikage, even if he was knocked out of that state, he'd just activated that state again and then went right back at the fourth Raikage. He didn't necessarily do that to Konohamaru. That's why I wouldn't necessarily say that it's accurate to say that Konohamaru is right below the fourth Hokage. No. Jugo was coming out the fourth Raikage with something serious. Like, he was trying to, like, he didn't really know what he was doing against Konohamaru.
More, so he has more access to reserves of power. He learns the purple light.
That's good.
Shaman,
KFC's fresh.
Is his strongest jutsu at the moment that we know of, as well as the fact that maybe you could even use a rationalist argument. You know, the current Kage are able to fight things like Kinshiki and Momoshiki, so, you know, maybe Kakashi, if he power cliffed with them, and the Hokage is supposed to be the apex of the world thematically, that maybe Kakashi, if he was in the realm, maybe he could have thrown hands with Kinshiki and Momoshiki as well.
That right there is even more controversial, because a lot of people just believe that Momoshiki and Kinshiki were a little bit nerfed in this battle. Obviously, the main feat that we do have from Kinshiki is the fact that he's able to split the world in half. And if he's throwing blows, like, if he's swapping blows with, like, regular Kage, it's like, how is he able to split the planet in half? Like, can these Kages also split the planet in half? Like, again, that right there would put damn near all these Kages above the Akatsuki. You see what I'm saying? So, it's kind of difficult to believe, and I understand that, but I don't know. Let's see what my guy says.
charitable. And I think something that might also support that is you have old man retired Kakashi. He's not actually that old, but he's retired. He's just vacationing. He's not even in the manga at the moment, but yeah. But he actually confronts Kakashi and Koji in the anime, and Koji basically just has to give him the slip. He doesn't just like quickly knock him out or something. So you could make an argument that maybe, you know, Kakashi's still Boruto tier Kage level. But the problem with that is that, as Swag can get into, compared to even base Naruto,
I believe I might be wrong, but I believe Kakashi basically said that Kashin Koji was skilled. Like he kind of admitted that Kashin Koji may have actually beat him. So I don't know if we could completely use that as, you know, Kashin Koji wasn't actively trying to hurt Kakashi. You feel me? I don't know.
Not that impressive.
Yeah. So it's like the thing, right? That like. Remember the you know, the little staircase I illustrated earlier? That only takes us up to Fourth War Rinnegan Sasuke.
With the staircase thing, I basically said 17-year-old Sasuke wet behind the ears, breath still smelling like Similac was up here, and it looks like they agree as well. They're putting him past Madara with 2 Rinnegans and 1 Rinne Sharingan. The reason why I don't know is because we never really seen this version of Madara actually fight. This might just be a placeholder because he didn't necessarily want to put Sasuke like over here. So I don't know. Let's see what my guy got to say.
Yeah.
Not Boruto era Sasuke. And so there are a little bit more steps that we can take here where we get to like three-eyed Madara.
Oh, so they're on the same staircase.
The Madara that they fought. And then Naruto and Sasuke both obviously get stronger.
They learn what they're doing.
The Kaguya fight as they get more accustomed to their powers. So they're above the Naruto and Sasuke that fought Madara. And then there's like the Naruto and Sasuke.
Yo, this right here is groundbreaking. This right here is groundbreaking. Bro is putting Tonetti above Kaguya Otsutsuki. Now, I'm going to say it like this. I personally believe that Tonetti is not above Kaguya Otsutsuki, and I don't necessarily believe that Sasuke at 19 years old is above Kaguya Otsutsuki. Let me know what you guys think, bro. Maybe I'm bugging. But I'm usually on the side of Kaguya Otsutsuki is not that strong because I'm always arguing if Kaguya is better than Momoshiki unfused, and I think that Momoshiki is destroying Kaguya unfused. But for him to put 19-year-old Sasuke and 19-year-old Naruto above Kaguya plus Tonetti, I don't know. That's tough. Let's go empty temp.
Toneri may or may not be stronger than Madara. That's a different.
Oh, so he's not really putting him up above Kaguya.
We won't get into that here, but I think everybody can agree that like obviously Naruto and Sasuke are stronger in the last than they were at the end of Shippuden. Yeah. And then obviously they are even stronger in Boruto. And a lot of people still argue about this, but I think it's been widely accepted now at this point that Momoshiki is at least relative to Kaguya. Like, a lot of people think that, like, Kaguya would body him or something, which I think is a little ridiculous. But, you know, he's described as a threat, or he and Kinshiki are described as a threat greater than Kaguya. And the reason why Momoshiki is relevant here is because, like, base Naruto fights, not, like, base 50%.
Tonetti with Tenseigan is stronger than Kaguya? Again, I don't know. See, the problem with Tonetti is that, talking about Naruto and Sasuke, there's 0% Otsutsuki, but Tonetti himself, he's essentially half Otsutsuki, I believe. But, you feel me? He's even less than half Otsutsuki. So it's like, matter of fact, I don't even know. So it's like, in regards to power scale, understandably, he has the Tenseigan, but if we're supposed to just say that right there is technically equal to the Rinnegan, how strong was Tonetti even without the Tenseigan? Because if you guys recall, when he didn't have the Tenseigan, he got bodied by Urashiki, and people still to this day think that that Urashiki himself wasn't really strong. So can a Tenseigan really just elevate that version of Tonetti completely above Kaguya Otsutsuki? I don't really know. Now, and even more telling, Naruto didn't really have that much difficulty with Tonetti in the last. Obviously, they dragged it out for entertainment purposes, but I believe if he just went in, say, the Six-Path mode in that particular fight, it would have been a complete body. Like, he didn't really go in Sage Six Path mode. He was really in KCM 2 plus Sage mode. So I don't know. I'm gonna continue.
Momoshiki, but like I think it's fused Momoshiki, but
Yes.
he's only at 50% power, right?
Yeah, Naruto has half power, and
Oh no, Naruto's at 50%.
Naruto is not at 50%. I don't know why. Naruto is not at 50%. I don't know why. I don't know why people continue to carry on this narrative. Naruto had 50% of karma stolen from him. Naruto is not 100% of Naruto's power is not 100% of karma's power. Naruto is strong without karma, and that's even a big topic now because Naruto obviously does not have karma. 50% of karma was stolen, yes. But in the grand scheme of things, I think in totality when it comes to Naruto, I'd say if we're wanking it, like if we're just wanking karma, I'd say Naruto is 75% here. He's 75% in this battle if we're wanking him. And people always compare the Sasuke thing. Sasuke is relatively equal to Naruto. Sasuke was not less than 50% in this battle. And in this battle, Naruto objectively seemed stronger than Sasuke. So Naruto essentially had more chakra than Sasuke because obviously Sasuke had to use the Rinnegan to actually transport people here. Sasuke is probably about 66%. Naruto himself was probably more than 66%.
Right, and he's fighting fused Momoshiki, and we're not given any indication that Momoshiki is holding back at that moment in time. That's right, I got it backwards.
Right.
And keep in mind, this is in base. This isn't like Sage Mode, KCM1, or anything. Like, base Naruto is fighting him, and it's not like Naruto's getting beaten up or whacked around or anything. Like, Naruto's actually performing pretty well. Like, it seems impressive. If I didn't know who these characters were and I took a look at these pages,
This right here was what I was pointing out before. Like, Naruto without karma is still strong. In regards to what SethTheProgrammer and Hokage are talking about, they're essentially saying that this version of Naruto right here is 50%. Now, you may say that Naruto is weakened because he got knocked around a couple of times back at the Chunin exam, but Momoshiki was drawing chakra from the Nine Tails. He wasn't necessarily drawing chakra from Naruto. Remind you guys, Momoshiki was trying to gather up all the tailed beasts. Like, it wasn't just Naruto. Momoshiki went to Killer Bee at first, the 8 tails. So I get where they're coming from. He drew 50% of karma's chakra. He didn't necessarily draw 50% of Naruto's chakra. That's absurd. Now, Naruto may have actually expended some chakra by actually making it difficult on Momoshiki, because Naruto did say in the manga he's not necessarily going to make it easy for Momoshiki to drag out karma's chakra. He may have expended some chakra to actually make it a slower process for Momoshiki, but Naruto was not 50%. Let's keep it a G.
like, oh, okay, so
they're like relative,
like,
or something.
yeah, exactly.
I gotta give
Naruto and
Hokage and Seth a pass because they don't necessarily follow Boruto like as heavily as someone like me, and debate it as heavily as someone like me. I believe in the future they're probably gonna go over and basically figure out and actually see that Naruto is not 50%.
at full power are clearly like illustrated as like implied to be rivals throughout Boruto. I think that this is pretty much the closest in power they've ever been.
Yeah.
And that hasn't changed. Like, that's very intentional. And so like when Naruto goes into, some people think it's KCM2, some people think it's Six Path Sage Mode.
It's not even relevant, and
that's what I was gonna say. Whatever you want to call it, when he goes full power, he and Sasuke are still relative. And
I ain't gonna lie, I might have to just get YouTube Premium on this account too. I might have to get YouTube Premium on this account too, man.
base, which is way weaker than his full power mode, and at 50% power at that, he was keeping up with fused Momoshiki. Now, let me admit, obviously, fused Momoshiki was way stronger than that because it did take Naruto and Sasuke fighting him together at full power to actually beat him. But like, the fact that Naruto was able to like do anything, I mean, he put up a better fight than any of the other Kage like put together, right? Like, they weren't really even scratching Momoshiki. Meanwhile, he was like dodging Momoshiki's attacks, actually like damaging him, knocking him back and stuff. So they're way beyond where they were in Shippuden at this point.
I think just an easy indicator. For one, for Toneri, there are some weird guides that imply he might even be stronger than Kage.
What? I gotta see that. I definitely gotta. If that's the case, then the Momoshiki versus Kage debate is done right here, partners. Let's keep it at G. Cut the malarkey. If Toneri is stronger than Kage, what are we talking about here? Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna say that. I was gonna say something about Delta, but I ain't gonna say that.
Into that.
Yeah.
But I think at a very just basic level, even if you think Kaguya beats Momoshiki per se, I think at a very base level, we could all agree, okay, Kaguya knows about Momoshiki and Kinshiki, and she is scared of them still. Now, maybe she thinks that they're gonna jump her, and she's slightly stronger than one, and, you know, it's 2v1, so she's gonna lose. But regardless of that, Naruto is then fighting them put together, these guys that scare Kaguya put together at 50% power, okay?
In base.
In base. And then, you know, at full power, he gives him the hands. And Sasuke is
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people have the idea that both Naruto and Sasuke, when they're obviously not nerfed, could have possibly been stronger than Kage. Some people make that argument. And the stuff that they say, especially in an argument like this, when we see Naruto 1v1 taijutsu-wise get the upper hand on Momoshiki, and you may say that Karma himself was about 50% weakened, Naruto or Sasuke individually, when they were not nerfed, obviously Naruto in Baryon mode, but when they were not nerfed, may have actually challenged Kaguya 1v1. Like, I ain't gonna lie, they may have.
Because he uses his teleportation jutsu, which we know uses a ton of chakra, especially earlier on in Boruto. So Naruto and Sasuke are both extremely nerfed when they're fighting this guy who would give Kaguya.
Yeah, again, I'd say
Sasuke
Sasuke is about 66% chakra in here, and I'd give Naruto, Wank, and Karma 75%. Naruto is about 75% clear here.
Wow. So even if you think Naruto and Sasuke somehow don't have 6 paths, or maybe you think for some reason they're nerfed, they're still incredibly powerful and still, like, able to run Kaguya's fade. And it's implied, you know, in Ishiki's realm that he believes that Kaguya's evolution is similar to Momoshiki's level as well, which sort of supports why Kaguya might have been somewhat timid of them, because obviously someone on her level is coming with backup. They're gonna come run her hands. So
well, like another thing too that's impressive about that Momoshiki fight is that I think it's either implied or stated. It's been a while since I read the chapters, but that Naruto is holding back significantly so he doesn't blow up.
That was specifically in the Chunin exam. So yeah, when Naruto is fighting against Momoshiki in the Chunin exam, he didn't necessarily want to blow up the Chunin exam because there are obviously Genin's parents, other Jonins, and other Kages there. He could have literally just blew that whole thing up. Regular Momoshiki versus Naruto, that right there is a debate in itself, but, you know, again, he was definitely holding back. I hope he's not necessarily confusing this right here for them actually fighting against Fused Momoshiki.
Because, like, if he goes all out recklessly, like, I mean, like, you guys saw their fight in the final valley. Like, shit was exploding everywhere, exactly. Dude. So, like, Naruto can't do that. He has to restrict himself to, you know, close quarters combat mostly. Really, like, concentrate to make sure his jutsu don't create massive explosions or go flying off somewhere. Mm-hmm. So, and again, like, this guy is bare minimum, at least relative to Kaguya, who is totally, like, completely out of the reach of any of the first 6 Hokage, with the arguable exception of Kakashi. But, like,
I don't think there's enough evidence yet to say Kakashi could run hands with used Momoshiki yet.
Yeah,
so
again, even though the novels may say that Kakashi can possibly run hands with Kage Otsutsuki, just like Seth, I gotta see it actually happen. Like, we've seen this. Now, don't get me wrong, we don't necessarily know exactly how strong Kashin Koji is, because Kashin Koji only fought a guy significantly weaker than him, which was Konohamaru, and we all know how I feel about Konohamaru, and he fought someone significantly stronger than him in Ishiki Otsutsuki. Even though he did something that Naruto and Sasuke never did, which was block Ishiki Otsutsuki, we don't really know how strong Kashin Koji actually is. I may actually go out on a limb and say that Kashin Koji might be up there with Naruto and Sasuke. I'm not necessarily going to say he's stronger than them, but he's definitely up there.
Like, the best piece of evidence is that Kashin Koji anime only scene, but, like, if Kakashi was still that strong, why didn't he come help fight Momoshiki? This
is another thing that I bring up with Sakura as well. People say that Sakura is essentially, like, could soul the Akatsuki and stuff like that. Why don't they never call Sakura to help in times of peril?
You know.
So there is an implication that Kakashi's not in the manga because he has some very secret, big plot device thing going on right now that is going to be revealed. At least that was admitted by Kishimoto and Kodachi and all of them. But at the moment, we just don't have any evidence or know-how, so we can't argue him there. Now, for you Kaguya fans, I know on my channel I've downplayed Kaguya quite a bit, but I am starting to come to terms with that she's kind of Momoshiki-ish level, rather than just being blatantly, oh, she would get fodderized or something.
I'm on a level of she'd get fodderized by Momoshiki, by the way.
Yeah.
In Kaguya's benefit as well, something else I think needs to be exaggerated is when Three-Eyed Madara is turning into Kaguya, what happens is all of the energy collected from the infinite Tsukuyomi starts blowing out of the earth. And then Naruto and Sasuke are like, what is this energy? And Naruto says, this energy is even greater than the Ten Tails. Now, a lot of people thought Madara...
Yo, they are cashing out. They cashing out. Yo, hey, yo. This is like the third ad, bro. Shout out to them, bro. Big YouTubers, bro.
Naruto's talking about the energy coming out of the ground into Madara. So Kaguya absorbs greater than Ten Tails level energy on top of Three-Eyed Madara, and that's how strong she is. So imagine
like Sasuke describes it as like a completely different level. He didn't even think it was possible for someone like this to exist.
Yeah, and the chakra is so massive that Madara's 10-tail 6-pad Senjutsu body explodes because it's so much energy. So imagine if Three-Eyed 6-pad 10-tailed Madara got a second 10-tails Jinchuriki amp. And that's Kaguya, right? And so the fact that Momoshiki can scare that girl is insane. There's just... So let's run through even the haxes. Is there any hacks Tobirama can do?
No, hell no.
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 Is there any...
Because, like, Tobirama has, like, teleportation, right? And it's, like, the same thing with Minato. Like, that's their big thing is that they can teleport. Well, like, so can Sasuke.
Yes.
You know? So it's...
Sasuke is even better because he doesn't necessarily have to put a, I forgot what a mark. I don't even know the actual term of it. He doesn't have to put a mark anywhere for him to teleport. He can just look at something and teleport there.
Right. And Sasuke was also fast enough to catch 6 paths Madara as well. But the other one, too, is Minato. Could Minato maybe Reaper Death Seal? Well, no, he can't, because from what we can tell, he thinks the 9 Tails is such an
Sealing
insane,
tag, there you go.
massive power
Body
that
flicker.
can't possibly imagine sealing it into one body, let alone the 10 Tails. He might not even be able to Reaper Death Seal the 10 Tails, let alone, 6 paths adult Sasuke, or Momoshiki, or Kaguya. Hashirama struggles with base Madara. So, obviously, he's nothing compared to 6 paths. Hiruzen, from what we know, he should have no reason to be able to do anything crazy either. Tsunade is probably the weakest link, funny enough.
Yeah.
Because she has, like, basically no... She can heal them, but it doesn't...
Yeah,
really,
that would be the only thing.
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't really matter. Like, so... And then you have Kakashi, which he's just too unknown. All we know about him is that he's probably Kage level, and which is weaker than
Yeah. So if you guys weren't here at the beginning, this is what I essentially foretold. Sasuke is beating all the other Hokage if Naruto is not involved. If Naruto is now involved, Sasuke is not winning. I'm sorry, he's not winning.
Yeah. So Sasuke does win that first round pretty hardcore. Sasuke could pretty much just genjutsu all of them. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably say 17-year-old Sasuke is beating all those Kages. What are you doing here? 17-year-old Sasuke is beating them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it would actually just be that, right? Like, he, just, and then they're all in Shibaku Tensei.
Yeah. Or he literally just glances at all of them like the Biju, and then he just Shibaku Tensei.
Yeah, probably.
Float away, basically. So.
We don't even have to get into like the weird stuff like the Soul Dragon or like whatever, right?
The thing with Sasuke is that he has so many hacks. Things like this would not be possible. Like fighting against the Kage, fighting against regular ninja, period, it makes no sense. We don't really see Sasuke's hacks a lot because every time that we see Sasuke fight, he's either fighting against Sarada, which is obviously training, or he's fighting against high-level Otsutsuki members that's not necessarily going for an almighty push. They're not necessarily going to be fazed by an almighty push. They're not necessarily going to be fazed by a Chubaku Tensei because we've seen Momoshiki already break out the Chubaku Tensei easily. Like, it basically felt like a feather to him. So these abilities that they're basically talking about, we really don't see. But if Sasuke is fighting regular shinobi, he's destroying them. Oh, and obviously he did fight Shinichia, but that was when his Renegons were completely worn out.
Like you said, it's just like, because I mean, none of them have resistance to that. Like even if you don't even like get into like his sheer like physical dominance, right? Like just how much more chakra he has than them, how much.
Sensational, right? Hashirama had to fight Madara with both halves of the 10,000. And Madara still, you feel me, couldn't beat Hashirama. In regards to us, basically scaling like Madara versus another character, we have to understand that he was nowhere close to Hashirama. But that was about a conversation way earlier. This has nothing to do with this, by the way.
None of them have resistance to that kind of genjutsu, except for Sasuke. So
yeah, you remember how the 5 Kage saw Madara's perfect Susanoo, and they're like, "What is this power? What do we even do?" And they just kind of gave up and died. That's pretty much what would happen if Sasuke
facts.
did that as well. Like they literally just could never touch him at all. They couldn't even hurt him. So that at best, you might be able to say, well, maybe Hashirama can absorb his chakra, but we have no evidence he could absorb that much chakra, let alone or even do enough damage to Sasuke to even get him to that point. So yeah,
much even more. It could even catch Sasuke speed wise. Sasuke is blitzing all of them, like just speed wise. You may have an argument with the 4th Hokage because obviously he has body flick, he has the he has teleportation. But Sasuke also has teleportation. I think speed-wise, he's the only person that could possibly say something. Sasuke speed blitzing everybody else.
If you throw Naruto into the mix, it just becomes a question really of like, could Sasuke beat Naruto?
Yeah.
And we've already said that they're relative, so...
Yeah,
see, this is different. I disagree with this. A reason why I disagree with this is because people discount abilities of ninjas. This right here is not necessarily Dragon Ball Z. You can't necessarily say Sasuke's power versus everybody else's power. No, it doesn't work like that. It'll be Naruto versus Sasuke, yes, but you'd see a bunch of weird stuff happen. Like Sasuke will be focused on Naruto. All of a sudden, Sasuke's abilities completely teleport completely out of nowhere. For example, when Madara is fighting against 8 Gates My Guy, obviously he's fighting against 8 Gates My Guy. But a lot of Madara's actual attacks were completely taken away by Minato. So you can't necessarily say it'd just be Naruto and Sasuke. Well, Naruto versus Sasuke. No, they'd be involved as well. Even Hashirama. Hashirama would probably be like secretly siphoning some chakra from Sasuke. And Sasuke out of nowhere just be like, yo, why am I so weak? Kakashi probably would be able to do something too. Probably give Naruto some... I don't even know, bro. I don't even know. Just understand. Slight abilities like that would make life difficult for Sasuke, so it wouldn't just be a solely Sasuke versus Naruto fight. It'll be Sasuke versus Naruto with minor things that just aid Naruto in beating Sasuke. That's why I don't necessarily think that Sasuke would be able to beat Naruto. Even if you think that Sasuke flat out beats Naruto in a 1v1, Sasuke plus these other Kages with all their hacks abilities, especially Kakashi, Minato, and the first Hokage, I don't really see Sasuke coming out on top.
So with the Hokage in the background, so
yeah, they would just like sit over there on it'd sort of be like what Cell expected the Cell games to be, right? Like Goku shows up, fights him, loses, and then it's over.
The only thing
it wouldn't be like that. That's what I'm saying.
The only thing I can imagine is maybe Sasuke might steal their chakra to amp himself, but other than that.
So what I will say about that is it's like weird because it seems like it's like a big ass multiplier. Like it's not a linear increase. Like he doesn't get a 9 tails, 8 tails, 7 tails, etc. stronger. He gets like way stronger. It's like an amp greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
So like maybe if he absorbed all the Kage's chakra, it could be. But like I think the other thing too is you could easily argue that the only reason the Biju chakra worked like that was because they were originally part of the 10 tails, and it's even stated that he was like using his Susanoo as a pseudo Geto Mazo. So it might not even amp him at all.
Here's another thing we know now that Naruto can do. If it's controller up his butt Naruto, he can bury in mode.
Obviously, you feel like, obviously, what are you doing here?
Literally murder
Sasuke
stomp.
gets bodied.
So yeah, I guess the next one is then like fatigued. Well, nerf to Sasuke versus nerf Naruto. So what do you think about that?
Well, I guess
Nerf
a good
Sasuke versus
question
Nerf Naruto is difficult because we don't really know exactly what Naruto can actually do. The thing about Naruto is that we understand that he lost Karma, but he also lose Sage's Six Path mode? You feel me? If he lost Karma plus Sage's Six Path mode, we'd obviously say that Sasuke is stronger. But if he just lost Karma, then it's still a discussion. It's the reason why I say it's still a discussion is because Naruto, even without bump that. I'm not even going to talk about Madara right now. I'm talking about that a little bit later. Naruto without Karma plus Sage Six Path mode plus Sage mode, without all of that, was still like throwing hands with fused Momoshiki, as they were basically pointing out before. Now, Naruto with Sage's Six Path mode essentially one shot, like, you feel me, Jubi Madara, like with the Rasengan. Like, Madara was literally asking himself, yo, am I about to die? Yo, this guy was really basically, asking God for forgiveness as he was actually figuring out, like, yo, I could just seal a God tree inside of myself and then get stronger. Naruto without Karma was legitimately stronger than 8 Gates My Guy, period. So I'd still say that if Naruto had Sage's Six Path mode versus Sasuke, it'll be a difficult discussion. Let me know what you guys think. It's difficult.
What do you think about that?
Well, I guess a good question is, do we still think that nerfed Sasuke could beat all of the Hokage? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
They agree with it. Thank you.
Like, he's weaker, and he doesn't have the Rinnegan abilities, but like we said earlier, 50% base Naruto was fighting Fusion.
I'd say 75.
And so Seth and I talked about
this.
this
Without
specifically,
Karma,
right?
probably 50.
We know that EMS is, like, apparently a bigger amp.
Oh,
Sage
yeah,
mode.
yeah. I can go into that. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
even that's controversial. Maybe I didn't hear it correctly.
Oh, that EMS is, like, apparently a bigger amp. Than Sage mode.
Yeah. I can.
Here's the thing. Sage mode was explained as being a multiplier of your base. You see what I'm saying? Or a multiplier of what you are prior to the Sage mode. So back then in Naruto Shippuden, possibly 5 of Naruto's in base was probably weaker than this version of Sasuke. But Naruto now in his base, like we just seen it, he was throwing hands with fused Momoshiki. If you're gonna 5x that Naruto, then you have then we can have a discussion. Like, you see what I'm saying? That right there may not be an actual bigger power up than Sage mode now. Right now, probably. Right now, no. Back then, probably.
Yeah.
So basically, if you think Naruto and Sasuke are equal in base, and then their respective transformations are equal in level, maybe that's like the whole thematic thing going on, then EMS Sasuke should be still insanely powerful because the EMS is stronger than Sage mode in the war.
I ain't gonna lie, I might be wrong. Let me know in the comment section below. These two, when it comes to Naruto Shippuden, they might be more knowledgeable than me. Boruto wise, probably not, but Naruto Shippuden, definitely. I'm not even gonna take that away. Definitely, 100%, 100%.
MS is able to take a burning ash from reanimated Madara, not reanimated, sorry, but alive Madara, whereas, Naruto's like, oh, holy hell, that was hot, and he's like blown away, whereas EMS Sasuke doesn't even flinch, and it's not even with his Susanoo out, it's just his base skin. And then the other thing we know about even one-eyed Mangekyo Sharingan or EMS Sasuke is that since blind Madara could do it, this one-eyed Sasuke can not only use Amaterasu still, he can use Genjutsu still, but he can also use his Susanoo still, probably his perfect Susanoo with one eye. So now you have perfect Susanoo, one-eyed Sasuke versus Sage mode Naruto, no cloak. And it's really, it's really not implied that Sage mode is, fighting perfect Susanos. It was kind of implied that Sage mode was more of a rival to MS or the no-footed Susanoo during the Kage summits rather than the walking ones.
This is true.
Susanoo, at least throughout the medias, but I'll let you go into
You
detail.
could maybe argue that Sasuke can't go perfect because Madara could only use like the foot, like leg Susanoo.
Yeah.
Without his eyes. We'll probably know more in the future, unless Naruto and Sasuke just die before like we get their powers revealed, and then it's just like endless speculation about this sort of thing. Without Naruto,
here's the thing: we know how much stronger, what's it called? The Nine Tails made Naruto, but we really don't know the power of Sasuke's full Rinnegan. I don't even think he ever really used the power of his full Rinnegan versus Otsutsuki members. He barely even absorbed chakra. You see what I'm saying? So in regards to the multiplier of Sasuke, I don't really know. So base Sasuke, we really don't know. We really don't even know how strong he is. I will admit this: Sasuke base got a lot stronger in the 16-year time skip than Naruto's base did. The Naruto's base did. Here's the thing: Sasuke had to catch up so much to Naruto. You feel me? That when the writers basically said that Naruto and Sasuke, they're equal, we just understood that Sasuke came so far. So base-wise, I could possibly agree, because if you guys don't necessarily recall, Sasuke essentially took out all the tail beasts. He probably took 2 sensu beans in the meantime, did all that, and still lost to Naruto. You feel me? And Naruto had half of the 9 tails at that time. You see what I'm saying? So base-wise, I could possibly see where they're coming from.
I don't think that the result is all that different, because Sasuke just like power clips them really hard. Because even without his MS or his Rinnegan, he's like relative to base Naruto, who, like we said, was fighting Momoshiki at half power.
Stronger than the Hokage. Yeah.
Like he would just like blitz them all and like cut them up with his sword.
Can I say something else that supports as well? Is one-eyed EMS Sasuke was considered a massive threat to 80% Borushiki. So
yeah.
In the manga, it's implied Sasuke's stronger than Borushiki.
Here we go. My guy's cashing out. But it's true. But the thing is, we don't really know how strong Borushiki is. Like, we understand that Boruto is not necessarily going to be as strong as Momoshiki, because Jigen himself, even though he's 100% in his Karma Seal, he was nowhere close to Ishiki Otsutsuki. He was definitely strong, but he wasn't necessarily Ishiki Otsutsuki. So even saying this, we don't really know. This Boruto right here may have actually been a little bit weaker than full power Naruto with Karma. So we don't really know. We don't really know.
Consider a vesseled Otsutsuki or an Otsutsuki revised in a vessel stronger than ever, then this 80% Momoshiki is stronger.
See,
than he was
again,
before.
saying 80% Momoshiki. This is not 80% Momoshiki. This is 80% Karma Seal, Karma Sealed Momoshiki's vessel. You feel me? That's what it is. There's 80% Momoshiki's vessel. This is not 80% Momoshiki. Just want to point that out.
And
yeah,
Sasuke
I think
is still
that
stronger. So
I think it's implied that Borushiki is stronger than
What are we
Momoshiki.
doing here?
yeah,
What are we doing here, partners? What are we doing here, partners? What are we doing here, partners? The reason why I say that Borushiki is not stronger than Momoshiki is because we've already seen the dynamic of Jigen versus Ishiki Otsutsuki. The power level, it didn't make any sense. Now, here's where I might say that Borushiki has a possibility of surpassing Momoshiki. Jigen was described as a monk. Jigen did not fight. Jigen didn't necessarily do anything in regards to combat. Boruto, however, was a ninja. So Boruto, when he does actually get the Karma Seal and he does go into the second stage of the Karma Seal, that multiplier may be higher than just a regular monk because Boruto was active. You see what I'm saying? But just to say that Borushiki is strong, especially 80% Borushiki is stronger than Momoshiki, that right there is going out on a huge limb. I'm not necessarily going to say that fully. I will say that Borushiki is definitely strong, but stronger than Momoshiki, I don't know about that. We gotta get more information about that. But then again, I always gotta say this, especially with SwagHokage. SwagHokage doesn't necessarily follow Boruto that heavily. Don't get me wrong. SwagHokage definitely does his research, but he's not necessarily as invested as he is in regards to Naruto Shippuden. Ask me anything about Naruto Shippuden, I'm pretty sure he knows a lot more than me. A lot more than 99% of a lot of people. But this, I don't know.
Momoshiki, just because like he was able to just straight up yeet Sasuke
KFC
in the
Fresh.
eye
I don't
with-
necessarily do power scaling right now. I do want to do more videos about power scaling, definitely. But I ain't gonna lie. Saying that Borushiki is stronger than Momoshiki, that's tough. I don't know.
Momoshiki was like never able to do anything like that. And granted, you could argue he caught Sasuke off guard or whatever, but like the dude has an EMS and a Rinnegan. So like,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he was probably like fine.
Regardless,
in terms of his
though,
ability to perceive him.
Regardless,
Yeah.
though, Sasuke is very strong still.
Yeah.
The main debate is how strong is Naruto, but I think we can go way more into detail about how strong base Naruto is on Swag's channel. But
Yeah.
I think for now we can just say, you know, round one, if Sasuke was in Naruto's position as in the first video, he just stomps. If it was Sasuke versus, you know, full power Naruto, he would just bury in mode if he had a controller up his ass.
Yeah.
So you just win. And then, you know, third, if Sasuke, even while nerfed, is still stronger than all those Kage from what we know, and base Naruto Sage Mode is probably weaker than the perfect Susanoo, although it is debatable if he can use the perfect Susanoo, but he should still use, like, the footed Susanoo, like Madara.
Yeah.
In fact, he should be able to use
that.
something a little bit stronger than Madara, because Madara was blind. At least Sasuke has
Yeah,
one eye.
he didn't even have one eye.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So Sasuke pretty much wins 2 out of 3 with the Baryon mode just kind of stopping him in the middle. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Do look forward to a full breakdown on Nerf Naruto on Swag Channel. We're going to be going more into detail, like, can he actually use Sage Mode? People are actually debating if he can use Sage Mode. Some people are debating...
people.
some people were debating...
789.
Some people were debating...
Ooh, I hope they're not necessarily implying that either Swag Hokage or Seth was actually arguing if Naruto can actually use Sage Mode. Let's cut the malarkey. Obviously, this man can use Sage Mode. The question is, can he use 6-pass Sage Mode? That's the question.
Arc level, you know, maybe Kurama amped his base form and now he's not. We're going to be going over all of that on Swag's channel, so do look forward to that. And thank you very much for coming, Swag. Be sure to support Mr.
You feel me? Shout out to Mr. B, shout out to Swag Hokage, shout out to Seth. This right here is a good video. I largely agree with all of them. In regards to Sasuke versus all of the Hokage without Naruto, Sasuke is destroying them. With the Rinnegan, without the Rinnegan, he's destroying them. Now, in regards to Sasuke versus the Hokage plus Naruto, with the Rinnegan, without the Rinnegan, with Kurama, without Kurama, Sasuke losing all 4 of the matchups. Period, point blank. So let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm bugging.